Netflix's Cowboy Bebop. So I just got done watching Netflix's new live-action Cowboy Bebop, and I gotta say, it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. As for the review, we're just gonna go through categories and what I've got in my notes. So I've got, for the story, the climax of the first episode wasn't really as good as the original. Faye is now like an early character. She's also a lesbian, and she has like kind of a sillier backstory in this one, in my opinion. Some of the jokes are good. There's tons of like good slapstick, that type of thing. Every scene with Vicious is terrible, and they now call Spike Fearless, which is also equally as terrible. Jet, honestly, is just the best part of the show. Jet is probably the best character. He just kind of feels like Barrett in the new Final Fantasy VII Remake. Lots of characters from the original get more screen time, but not really any more development outside of that. There is some good world building, though, and the new original scenes that they do in the world kind of have cool looks to them, but at the same time, all of the writing just feels really bad in those scenes, and they don't really feel like Cowboy Bebop. Episode 5, just in particular, altogether, was especially bad. As far as video and how everything looks, all of the sets are kind of obvious sets, but some of them are good homages. There's lots of Dutch angles. The cinematography is just really weird. There's lots of camera close-ups that are really bad, and you can see that Spike's wearing contacts. The production quality kind of reminds me of Spy Kids in a good way, but like the CG, you know, the CG can be pretty good in this in comparison to Spy Kids, though. They do a great recreation of the intro, and the Bounty Hunter TV show recreation is great. The one with the Hispanic man and the blonde lady, where they say, "Howdy, partner." There's this one episode in particular that has some really cool effects. Episode 6 has Spike get trapped in a virtual world, and they have to do some cool Google Dream-like imagery effect on the whole time, and it's really nice. Acting, basically all of it is insanely cheesy. Vicious, God bless the actor, he looks hilarious, and I cannot take him seriously. Mustafa Shakir is amazing as Jet Black. I loved every second of it. The show is basically at its best when there are fight scenes and the hand-to-hand stuff is going on. The choreography really does elevate the show and make it like just a lot of fun. There's a lot of obvious John Woo influence and John Wick. The eunuch from the anime, Grin, has a good actor, but they took him in an entirely different direction, sadly. As a queer person myself, I was hoping that Gwen would be back the same way that he was in the show, because I really liked him in the show. I think it was good representation. Sound, they had some original songs that were really great from the original composer. Spike doesn't have the same cadence as Steve Blum, so you don't get this rumbly tone from his voice or anything, and a lot of the time him not speaking like Spike but looking just like Spike makes him kind of just look like a cosplayer, and it just could take me out of it a lot. They throw a lot of old songs in from the original OST, and sometimes it really does feel like Cowboy Bebop because of that. That's probably the best part of the sound, is just they brought back the Cowboy Bebop soundtrack. My takeaway here is that it's good to see some of Cowboy Bebop's greatest hits in live action, but there just wasn't enough care taken to make sure that everything in between those moments was interesting. When something from the anime would happen or a song would begin to play, people I watched the show with would start cheering, but at several moments in between these cool scenes, we were also cringing. That's why Netflix's Cowboy Bebop gets a 5 out of 10. Mediocre. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Thanks to my patrons James Novak and Anthony Wumbo.